kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, so listen up everyone, here is the story. This is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it works. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeve. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather fly together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the case workers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are old Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You just need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop.
She's working on it right now. So we have this our flagship show is Tiff and the Punisher, and that starts at 7, and then we go all night long up until 11 is our last shows. Just a bunch of different arrays, and I've always
Mr. Davis's platform, and I'm sure everyone knows Mr. Darren Guai, otherwise known as CPS Punisher. And then shortly we'll be having Tiffany join us as well, which was also a past host or guest on Mr. Davis's platform. So this evening, we kind of did this last minute. We don't really have any topics per se, but we wanted to maybe introduce Darren again and maybe have him give an update on what he's doing on his end of the world over there in Maine for CPS, and kind of talk a little bit about his show too, so we can all come together and keep fighting this fight for our children. So go ahead, Darren, tell us a little bit about your
that's
show
the
that's
thing.
going on.
The whole thing is this. You know what? We can't be individualized and try to win this fight. Everybody needs to come together as a solid unit, one big mass of people deploying against this fight, this corruption, the bad stuff that these courts are doing. The bottom line is this the kids that are being affected by this, by the masses. The statistics show that they don't stand a chance when they get brought into this foster care system. There's a great study out there done by the University of Baltimore called the oh my gosh, brain cramp here. The study is on it's done by University of Baltimore. It's called I'll figure it out here in a minute here. The harm of removal is the name of the study. Sorry, my bad. And that shows you right there that 75% of the kids that come out of this foster care system end up addicted to drugs, prostitution, alcoholics, the whole nine. Because you know what? These kids don't know what's happening to them. They're not adults. They don't realize this. They get ripped away from their safety net, even if they're abused children. The statistics show that they're much better off staying in that home than being. Now, we're not talking about abuse of, actual physical, doing nasty harm to these kids, but we're talking about, a mild amount of abuse taken in the home. They're better off staying there than with that. So the only way that this is going to happen is if all of us get together. There's plenty of us out there, and I've said this for a long time. There's plenty of us out there that are affected by CPS, millions and millions of us. But yet we're also, like each one of us, your case, Deidre, is more important than anybody else's case to you. My case with my daughter is more important than with me, and go on. But we all need to realize that we got to come together, and we all need to just be like, us as a whole. Yes, it's very special to us. Our kids, our cases are very special to us, but we need to realize that as a whole, this thing is way bigger than just our own kids. It's bigger than all of them. These kids, they cannot keep kidnapping our kids this way. They're destroying America, and they're destroying the future of America. That's what they're doing. So I've
talk a little bit about your show.
So we have multiple shows. Thanks to Mr. Davis and Miss G for teaching me this stuff, and bringing me into this, because I wouldn't have known where to begin.
I used to remember back in the day when you used to stand up because of your back, and you'd be like pacing, and you'd have your white beater on, and you'd be like.
I still have to, because of my narcolepsy. So I have to go back and forth between the two. Like I have to sit down, then I sit down, and then I start to fall asleep. You know the drill there. You remember, and then I stand up, and then my back hurts. So I got to bounce back and forth to keep my back loose. It's definitely a task, and I've mastered it somewhat to a degree. So we have, but we have. I've started a YouTube channel. It's at Abolish CPS. It's real simple to find. And here's Tiffany.
Oh, never fails. Oh, I was gonna say it never fails. Someone calls.
That's Tiffany. So let me talk with her here real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Get her on here. Hey, Tiff. She says Brace is. She has no waiver yet. Okay, hold on. They're gonna work on that right now. So Tiffany and I have put together our own platform, our own channel. We call it CPS Breaking News. It's youtube.com/@abolishcps. And we run shows all day long like you guys do. Same type deal, except for our shows are a little bit different. We don't do as much as the we do individual stories and things like that, but there's just an array of shows. There's Bringing Back Brenda. That's her own personal.
I think you're breaking up there a little bit. There you are.
Yeah, that was weird. That just kind of did that.
Grace, by the way, said that she's working on it.
Yeah, she's working on it right now. So we have our flagship show is Tiff and the Punisher, and that starts at 7, and then we go all night long up until 11 is our last shows. Just a bunch of different arrays, and I've always admired what Mr. Davis did here, and he's trying to put together a channel that all day long it's everything to educate people on CPS. So kind of took after what he was doing and do the same. That's between us.
I think you even said once before recently that podcasting like this takes so much out of an individual and really takes a lot of like dedication and energy for that matter. But I think you said something like, if you do at least 100 shows, then you're kind of considered like you've made it.
Right. They say that if you do 100 shows, that you are considered like legend status. Like that's it. You've made it. You've done it. You've getting there. And I mean, we've done over 470 shows this past year and a half. Like we did a lot.
That's crazy.
And it's not just it's not just
But that's what we need.
Right.
We need parents like us that keep fighting the fight, because like my biggest problem is feeling like, oh, well, if I don't have a guest, like what am I going to talk about? People are tired of my story. What am I going to say? The same old thing. But really, in reality, it's kind of like you might catch a handful of new people that have just now come across your show that haven't heard your story. And that's why I've kind of always continued to keep this fight up with doing this show. But then that's why I've also followed you with now doing your own platform and your shows, but you've really taken it to the next level. I mean, you guys give out a lot of like knowledge-based type of stuff, especially with Tiffany that's going to come on soon. She's very much into like
she's a machine. She's very much a constitutional law person. I mean, she's a no back down type person. Like, God willing that you have to ever go up against her in a situation, because it's not that she's not an arrogant, tough, loudmouth person. She's very educated. She's very right on with what she's saying, and she knows what she's talking about. She's confident.
She has a brother-in-law that's a Southerner.
Yep, she does. He comes on the shows from time to time with us. That's where we've gone to that level too. Like we're going into the politicians and trying to get them.
You had Connie on the other day.
Yeah, we had Connie on. We had Mark. Gabe Woolley was on, the one that he's the one that put together that bill in Oklahoma. Well, he's the one that said that they need to be charged with felonies if they illegally remove your children.
My biggest question lately that I've been meaning to ask you and watching all of your shows is, now that Trump's in office and we're hoping that he's actually going to do something about CPS in a way, what would happen if, like, let's say Trump decided to, like, I don't know, like you say, abolish CPS? Would the parents that lost their kids get their kids back?
Well, first of all,
how would that even start to work?
Well, first of all, we know this. If Trump got rid of CPS in whole, I think we would go back to the olden days. I mean, how many kids are really abused and neglected that get their parents taken away from them, or their parents or them taken away from their parents? We know that the numbers are staggeringly small. So, like they start at 7 million or 6 million or wherever you decide that they want to say that the calls are. And by the time it trickles down to it, there's less than 400,000. And then even from there, how many kids were actually abused and neglected? You know what I mean? So the amount that's actually there is very small, even though they're taking a child a minute. But I think that it would go back to the olden days, like when this system started, the foster care system and everything. It was handled by your neighbors. It was handled by the people in your town. I'll be damned if someone was going to beat up on a little kid for no reason. And like the neighborhood, whoever had the room in their home or whatever, they would take on the kid if they were truly handleable, or not being able to fit in with their family. And that would be, I think that you wouldn't have to worry about what everybody's so worried about. And secondly, getting your kids back, you don't have to worry, because people are like, well, what about the kids that were abused by their families for real? Look, they don't want their kids back. They're happy that they don't have their kids. They're not going to spend money or try to fight to get those kids back. So you don't have to worry about those kids falling back into the hands of the enemy, if you will, because it's never going to happen. You're not going to see droves of people going out that abuse their kids trying to get their kids back. It won't happen. But I think, there's that big question, Deidre. What happens to us that have been terminated? What happens to us that we've been, we've been involved in this and we don't have rights anymore? Well, that is the question. And the other question is do they really even know what's going on in the day-to-day operations? Because They talk about the immigration and that 85,000 kids are gone, that have come across the borders. Those kids are missing. They talk about all these other things, but what nobody's talking about is where are the kids in the United States that are being taken a child a minute? Where is that? Where are they going? Who are they going to? And where are they coming from? They're not coming from abusive homes. They're coming from homes that life happens. Like everybody has an issue in their life. No one's perfect, and it's nothing that's not recoverable to fix, and that's what this system was supposedly created for, was to help these families that have fallen on hard times, or they run into a substance abuse issue or something along those lines. And the substance abuse issue has just been something of now. That wasn't even of before. But something like that. That money that Title 4E gives you was supposed to be to put these families in counseling, get these families back on their feet to do what they needed. If they needed something in housing, you would give them that in housing. Get the family back together, because why are we giving foster families all of this money when that money could definitely help these families? But we need to get that message across to Donald Trump. It needs to happen.
And that's what you're going to do on this Friday. You should promote that a little bit. Maybe people want to tune in to watch that.
So this Friday on our show, we're having everybody that is involved with our shows. So everybody that has a show is coming on, and we have a solidarity message that we're sending at the front. But then a lot of our listeners or viewers, whatever you want to call them for podcasting, I'm not sure what the term is for them, but they are all also calling in a live transmission that they will be given 30 to 45 seconds apiece, telling Mr. Trump what's going on, what they would like to see changed, or how could they change things, or whatever, whatever they feel like in their heart they got to tell him to get this message across. That's what they're going to do, because maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't realize that this is really taking place in every American home right now. Like maybe they just think that this is how it's perceived in the media. Like, oh, look at the immigrant children coming across the border. They're missing. Maybe they don't realize that this is really a big problem right here in our United States. I can't say it enough. A child a minute, and then some. Now the numbers are moving up.
Well, that's the thing I'm kind of shocked about, though, to really see from doing these shows and finding out how many parents across the whole world, you might as well say, that is really affected by this. You would think that enough of us people would be making a commotion by now to where something would be like. I mean, I know movies like Sound of Freedom have come out and stuff, but still, there's just too many people that if they don't have any kind of contact with CPS, they're like, you're the problem. You have CPS, you're the problem. But really, you don't realize that CPS is the problem until you come encountered with it.
Right. And by then it's too late, right? Like by the time you've gotten involved with CPS, you've already given them the edge to remove your child. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They've already been given those extra steps that they needed. Whereas if you would have just paid attention to one of these shows at the beginning, and as soon as CPS comes to your door, you say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not contracting with you, whatever. Let me call my lawyer, Mr. Davis. He'll get in touch with you guys and arrange a meeting or whatever. Have a nice day. Close the door and leave. Like something along those lines. Don't ever let them cross that threshold.
You want to know something funny real quick? Speaking of that, Mr. Davis had on a guest, I think last week, a special guest, to basically say that this is the fourth time it's happened in the last 6 months where he has now literally heard that social workers are being trained in the county of Los Angeles to actually watch videos of Mr. Davis and be told to tell parents not to hire him. Yeah. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I know it does. I mean, that guy's a legend. He gets
but I mean, to think that social workers are being trained and actually watching videos of him because they know how successful that he can be, though. They're never wanting kids to go back home, is what I'm trying to say. They're just wanting to do everything. But
it's very simple to beat these people at their game. And we all know what the checklist is. So yeah, I mean, it would behoove them to watch all of our shows, because we're all giving out the information that the people that they're facing, it's kind of like the Bill Belichick days of the Super Bowl, when they said, oh, they were filming them behind the scenes. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, they would be stupid not to watch these videos and to try to convince people not to get Mr. Davis as their,
Yeah.
There needs to be more.
But it just goes to prove that they're never in it for reunifying these kids. They're never in it for that.
Never, ever. I mean, there's laws, there's legislature here in the state of Maine that tells you, it says the only 2 times a judge is allowed to appoint a GAL is if there's an adoption at hand, or if the goal is termination of parental rights. It's the only 2 times you get a GAL. Now, in the state of Maine, you're immediately given a GAL in your case, to just, work with your child. It's supposed to be standard stuff, like that's the procedure. Well, what does that tell you right there? Never ever once were they talking about reunification. If the law states that they can't install a GAL in these court cases unless adoption or termination are on the line, then why are they doing
because
it?
Because adoption and termination are always the first thing that's done.
Exactly. So that should just tell you right there. And I mean, that's just Maine, but I bet you if you start looking into other states, you'll find the same type of scenarios. There's all kinds of things that point at they are not here to give us our kids back. And Mr. Davis has a ton of good information. I mean, I know he's still putting out his shorts. I know he still does all that stuff. I mean, people need to listen to what he says. I mean, the guy, if you can't afford him to get him into their pocket for law-wise, then, I mean, God, you should at least pay attention to his shorts and his movies and his things to get the tips and tricks. 100%. I mean, he's one of the best, or he is the best. You type up CPS on the internet, you're going to find Vince Davis, anywhere. I'm coming up behind him, but I'm not quite there yet. But
yeah, aren't you in
I'm in law school
studying? Yeah.
Yep. I'm studying.
Don't you have something already that's like made you one step closer? Like you have a number or something? I remember you saying.
I have a bar membership, but we don't like to talk about that too much. Right? Everybody says if you're on the bar, you're. But I'm a member of the bar. But the way I look at it is that gives me access to information so that we can see. And here's the thing: the bar is trying to terminate parental rights. They're trying to terminate the termination of parental rights. They are doing a lot of good things. They really are. Despite what everybody says. She said, tell Tiffany to come on. Hey, Tiff, come on in. If you're still here on my phone with me, she'll get you the contract later.
Cool. Tiffany will shed some light on this. She's a feisty one, but I've been watching Darren's shows, like I said, on the side, and hey, Darren, by the way, you put songs on your show.
Yeah.
Is that like those are all your songs, but like, is it like an app or something, or you just totally do it?
I use the AI to sing, and then I use like soundtrack or things like that to make the music and everything. Then I'll combine them all. I mean, there are a lot of cool AI you make songs, which is really cool too. But yeah, I write every one of those songs that I play are all mine. I own all the rights. Cool. And we're putting out an album. We're starting the Patreon channel and all that. Now, we have the album that's put out there, and it's fun because there's not. Look, we're trying to change the stigma, right? Like we're trying to change the stigma. So, like, I've always designed the apparel and all that stuff. So now we can get like catchy tunes. You know what I mean? That talk about CPS, talk about what they're doing.
You want to know what's funny is I tried to Shazam it. One of your songs. Because I'm like, well, obviously, if I put no, nothing came out, but still, now I know why, because they're your songs.
Right, but
is that Tiffany calling you?
Yeah, that's Tiffany. Let me see how I can. Yep, she must have just got my message to come in. Cool.
Okay.
So, they're all my songs. They're all, they're all set, copyright wise, everything, and I enjoy making them, and I do a lot of things like these for fun for people, but it's just another way and get it in a way that it's not just standardized people bashing CPS, like these
like you say, they caught the CPS case. You can see them.
Right. Yeah, Darren must have caught the CPS. Let's get away from them. That's the way people treat this stuff. Like it's a disease. And I mean, just as well firsthand. Everybody, no one wants to believe you. It's funny, your family members, your friends, all of that will just walk right out of your life. Walk right out of your life, thinking that the CPS caseworker that they just met, that just probably your first day on the job, is right about you, that you're this, that, or the other. And
it's the money, though. The money too.
Yeah, well, I know.
My mom's more addicted to the money than she is having a daughter in her life anymore, apparently.
Right. Well, I mean, what's she get? She's probably getting $3,000 a month extra or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
that's what she gets.
Yeah,
yep,
so
that's what she gets.
That changed a person's life right there.
I did the math in the now going on 4.5 years that she's had them in her care. She gets $2,700 a month for both of them, and I think the last time I did the math, it was well over 6 figures.
Wow,
it was like 80-something thousand, or almost 100,000.
What do you want to do? Do you want to go ahead and just take care of a couple kids, send them off to school and all that, or do you want to go bust your ass?
And she don't do nothing of it. She don't do none of it. She doesn't spend one penny on them. The money that I spend on them just to see them once a month, to go to a different state and get an Airbnb and rent the car, and I still pay for like jump place like memberships so that when I'm there we can go places. I mean, I still buy their shoes, I get their haircuts. I mean, I do everything for them from afar. But don't forget, she also makes sure that she claims my kids too every year. So now I owe on my taxes for the first time ever in my life.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, I think it didn't tell you that in the past.
You claim
Yes.
the kids?
No, she claims my kids. Meaning,
Right,
how could she get a refund?
But she makes you pay for the tax money? Is that what you said? Is that what I heard?
What I'm saying is I still basically pay for anything and everything for my kids' well-being.
Oh, okay.
Meaning she gets money every month supposed to take care of the kids. Like I even pay for my kids' Kumon, which is like an extra way of helping them be learning math and English and stuff. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is she doesn't even have a job now. She just gets this income, right? In her Social Security. So when she does her taxes, how does she even technically get a refund on money that she's not earned? She is just given.
Yeah, I don't know how that one works, but
and the fact that I can prove how much I still financially, basically, you might as well say, take care of my kids,
yeah,
but yet
right?
I don't get to claim them.
Yeah, no one cares about that. That's the other thing. That money should be taxed because you're using that money after your money's taxed. So how can that not be a tax deduction for you, right? Like you're giving that back to someone
else. Or how
else.
am I not just allowed to claim my kids? Meaning I'm still taking care of them for that matter.
Yeah. No,
I mean, geez, Louise. Yep, and then she still gives me a hard time though when I do like buy them a new pair of shoes and tells me that if I keep buying them, shit, like she says, that she's not going to let them have them and that I need to just take that money then and give it to her. I'm like, oh yeah, just give you more money. Sure, why not?
Yeah, but imagine if you would have gotten that money. Imagine if you would have gotten an extra $2,700 a month in your account so that you could have taken care of your, helped out with your situations or counseling or whatever. Like that would have made a huge difference in your life, right? Like you definitely wouldn't be worried about these things.
Yeah. And my kids would have more of a quality of life. Like right now, they don't do any extracurricular activities. They don't get to go anywhere. They leave once a week to go to church on Sundays. Other than that, they're home every day after school, don't do anything. And it's like their childhood is just being totally taken from them and then some. My mom doesn't even say good morning to them in the morning. They wake up on their own. They eat breakfast. They go to school on their own. They come home. They'll be lucky if they say hi to her. And then they feed them dinner, but they don't sit down with them at the table. I mean, it's just totally like, but then they want the best interest of our children, these, wonderful CPS. And you wonder if they ever even check in on the kids after, like, let's say your case is closed.
They don't do that.
Of course not. Well, where's Tiffany?
She said, and then I just looked at this. Let me resend this link to her. She said it didn't come to her, but I don't know why that. 24 Tiffany gmail.com. Right there. Boom, right there. I'm going to do it again, Tiff. Here you go. She's watching. So there we go.
I know. She's probably like, let me in.
She's falling out of her stack right now. I can hear it.
How did you find Tiffany?
I was watching, like every other parent does, like you go around and you just find all these groups and these things. And her group is Wicked Warriors, her and Spannies. And, they were doing the same type shows that, not so much like what we would do with Mr. Davis, but just the round table of talking CPS. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I saw her and I said, wow, that's a really loud, crazy woman there. And, I'll be honest, I was scared of her the first time she contacted me and said, hey, Dan, me and you can do a show together. She wanted to, she called me the first time to interview me on her show. And I was scared. Very intimidated by Tiffany. Once obviously I got to know her. It was almost like you're looking like, are you, you really good for me, or is this going to be another in my face scared, so.
Speaking of that guy that you guys had on not too long ago that wore a thing over his face, and man, did he give so much knowledge that made me feel like I could march into court the next day and get my kids back. What? You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Obsidian, yeah.
What's his name?
Obsidian.
Okay. Well, between what you guys were talking about on that show alone and that other thing that you always talk about, the void ab initio or
I love it.
whatever.
Yeah, Void Ab Initio, I've been preaching since the beginning. I used to
I
ask
know,
Mr. Davis.
but why do you guys always make it seem so simple? But yet, have
It
you
is.
actually tried to go do it?
I'm in the present. I'm doing it right now. Knock on wood.
But
We'll
like,
see.
it's not that easy then. Like, just walk into the
No, it
court,
is.
basically.
Well, it's just time. It's time.
Oh, okay.
See, the Void Ab Initio was created to say pretty much that these documents and what's going on here has been raw since the start. Meaning, like, there's no legality to it. This is wrong.
Tiffany!
Is she in here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good. It's her turn to talk now.
Okay, well, finish your thought real quick about it.
So the void ab initio is it means that there's nothing from the start. There's no legality to what's been going on. The judge couldn't have ruled on it because it wasn't, and it doesn't have to be adjudicated. That's the big thing. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you use void issue, voided judgment, void this, trying to get that thing into those categories where you do in fact have to go to the courts and have a judge rule on them. But as of right now, void ab initio still stands. So you know what? Write up your slip, write up your affidavit, put in there why you're why you believe that CPS kidnapped your child, what went on there, the rights that were violated, the whole 9 yards with a sworn affidavit. Bring it in, submit it to your file. The clerk has to file that. Now you have yourself an order created by yourself from the court, and then you bring it to sheriff's office and hope to God that the sheriffs are constitutional sheriffs as well, and then they have to abide. Their job is to abide by the court orders and hold them up. So you get that all done. Go to the sheriff. Hopefully they work with you, and then hopefully you march you to get your kids. I don't know if it works, and this is only my opinion and for entertainment only. But I'm trying it now, and finally, after years of mastering it and figuring out what I had to actually do, the steps I had to take to get to it, I do give it up on our show and everything, how to do it. And because I don't believe in that, hiding this stuff. Like, we need to figure this out. The more of us together, the more of us we can, build this ship that can take this thing down.
Yes. Well, hopefully you're the first success story that we hear then. So, Tiffany, speak some knowledge and words into our show tonight.
Well, first of all,
yeah.
Go ahead. No, say what you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say, if anybody is watching, this is Tiffany from the past, and she's going to say how she's affiliated with Mr. Davis in the past, and then what she's doing now with Darren and stuff.
Well, I've been on the show quite a few times. I used to do Amanda's show with her, and I did one with Miss G, and Vince. I think I did 2 with them. But anyway, first of all, if Darren had known me, his case would have turned out a whole different way. Because first of all, I don't take any crap. I don't know what we're allowed to say on this show, but I don't take any crap off any of them. Okay.
That's the truth. I've seen it.
I backed 12 police officers and CPS worker right off my property. And I put them on blast. Me and my sheriff got into it. Me and 3 judges have got into it. The 3 judges will no longer hear a case with my name on it, because I told them all I was going to sue them because nobody is taking any of my rights, and I insert them all the time. But anyway, so I did hear a little bit while I was on the phone with Darren. You all were talking about the Trump administration.
Yes.
Well, what I want to see happen, there's a couple of players that I want to reach out to. And one of them is RFK, because he should be by Saturday the head of Health and Human Services. And what I want him to do is put together a team. I hope he picks people like us, because we know what we're looking for, to go through every termination, right? And only the justified ones. We're not talking about the physical abuse that has been, proven all the stuff that has been proven. I mean, with real facts, not because CPS wanted it to make it fit.
Mhm.
But I want all those children returned to their parents. Not only that, I want each state to have to come out of their pocket and pay for therapy because these kids have been traumatized and so have the parents, and they need to pay for therapy for the remainder of these children and these parents' lives. That's the one thing that I want. Then I want to talk to Pam Bondi. That's great that you're going after all these people, but who you really need to be going after are these judges and these lawyers who don't have jurisdiction, who do whatever they want and tell people the Constitution doesn't apply in my courtroom. The United States Supreme Court doesn't rule my courtroom. Well, unfortunately for you, they do, because they set the precedents, and the Constitution is very clear that you took an oath to uphold that Constitution, and you're not doing it. So they need to be criminally charged. And I want Cash Patel to get in on that too. Oh, wait, let's go back to Pam Bondi, because these are crimes. When you violate constitutional rights and civil rights, you have now committed a crime, which brings in the FBI, because guess what they're doing? They are conspiring with the lawyers, the prosecutors, the CPS workers, their lawyers. They're conspiring against the citizens of the United States. So they all need to be charged. I have big hopes for this administration. I hope they don't let me down, because I voted for the first time and I did vote for Trump. But I think the biggest thing is that because this new administration is in now and so much stuff is crumbling around these people need to take advantage of this and stand on their constitutional rights, because the worst case scenario is they're going to lie and hit you with a contempt of court because you are, well, they call me belligerent. I don't care. I do get belligerent and I do get ignorant and I do get very disrespectful when you start impeding in my life. No, because we're not, I know I'm not having it. But this is where people need to take advantage of this new administration and start standing on their constitutional rights. You want your
I think
kids,
a lot more parents. I think a lot more parents would have the kind of fight that you have if they have the knowledge that you have. A lot of us parents are so naive to like our own rights in a way, or what to do to kind of fight for our rights, that they kind of just don't have a voice.
Well, here's the thing. I can teach you your rights, but nobody can advocate for you better than you, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I tell people. Download the federal Constitution and the Federal Bill of Rights. Download your state constitution. Here, ours are called Declaration of Rights in Virginia. Have them in your phone. Don't print them out because it's like 300 pages. Don't print it out.
I remember you saying that before. I remember you referencing that one time before. You're like, and then I'm not going to print it.
Right. But you can buy the Constitution and the Bill of Rights right on Amazon for like $4.99. But the best education, I swear to God, because I only live and breathe these, because it's superior law of the land, and that's the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. If you learn your rights and you start thinking like these judges and these lawyers, see, that's what I do, right? I'm always a step ahead of them. I watch patterns. I can tell you CPS's playbook better than any CPS worker alive. I can tell you what they're going to say. I can tell you how they're going to act. I can tell you their body language. It doesn't matter. There's a pattern. I'm a pattern person. But the one thing that they can never, ever take away from you unless you give them up are your rights.
And then that's where they trick you though with these stupid safety plans. Because then once they get you to sign it, then you're kind of stuck or no?
No. You listen. If you sign a safety plan, you have just signed your plea bargain.
Basically, meaning you've signed them to take control of what they're going to do.
Well, no, not just that. You have signed that you're guilty of whatever they are accusing you of.
But it's the way that they represent it to you, not even letting you know that you really had a choice to sign it or not sign it.
Listen to me. When my grandson was in the hospital and I left, they waited till I left to call CPS. That was smart. But it was dumb too, because I guess they thought I wasn't coming back. But when I got there, she was like, you need to sign this safety plan or I'm taking the baby into custody. I said, oh, no, you're not. I said, aren't those voluntary? She said, oh, yeah. I said, I'm invoking everybody's rights. I'm her mother, his grandmother, and I'm a parent advocate. We're not signing anything.
The other part to my story that I don't know if you knew, Tiffany, the kind of like icing on the cake is the paternal grandmother, my husband's mother, when our case first opened, she tried to take all three of them. So they put her through the ringer of saying you have to become a foster, whatever, RFA, go through all of that stupid stuff, take classes, get certified, blah, blah, blah. Meaning she did it all. She completed it all. But she lived in a different county than me. And so they kept having this miscommunication conveniently for them, saying that, one worker wasn't getting back to another. Make a long story short, of course, they never did place any of our kids with her. But then at the end of our case, when, she's now here in court, at our TPR hearing, they're trying to ask for all these questions and stuff. And basically, we found out that in the paperwork, way in the beginning, they never decided to ever really look at her as placement, because they put on the paperwork that the children were already in a permanent placement. So therefore, why would they be trying to find anybody else? But then now that our case is closed and she got certified and everything, she now has 4 foster kids that are obviously not, any kind of relation to her, but she's good enough to be a foster parent to children that aren't even hers, but yet she wasn't good enough to be placement for her own grandchildren. I mean, it's just an extra slap in her face in that matter, but we all know why they do that.
I'm going to tell you why. There's no money.
Because the money follows. Yeah. Well, I thought because the money also follows the kids, meaning if they went out of county, then the county that the case was open in would obviously lose that money, right? Because they'd have to transfer.
Listen to me. They put kids on airplanes all the time and ship them all across the country to relatives. Okay. That's BS. They didn't want your children with her because they knew they were. Did your rights get terminated?
Only for my youngest, because the foster parents wanted to obviously adopt.
They knew your rights were going to be terminated. Okay. They knew that if your mother-in-law took those kids, you would be involved in their lives. Listen.
But see, the thing that doesn't make sense to me is why did they, because my mother that has my 2 older boys was willing to do legal guardianship, because she actually said at one point that she thought I was going to wake up one day and do whatever it was that she thought I wasn't doing so that I could get my kids back. So she didn't want to adopt them. Okay, so the courts went along with it. Well, why then couldn't we have forced the foster parents to be the legal guardian so that I could still get my youngest back? But because the foster parents wanted to adopt right away, then that's why I get my rights terminated. It's like, why was it left up to them?
Well,
and they had a lawyer now that they, of course, hired and was trying to say, we need to hurry this case along because we need to keep our son.
Yeah. So I probably already know the answer to this question. Was your child under 5?
My youngest wasn't even born when my case opened. They took him straight from the hospital.
It's all about the money. Have you looked at datarepublican.com?
I listened to it through your show yesterday. So when you guys look it up on there, all the different agencies and stuff, trillions.
Yeah. Look how much they give to foster care. Look how much they give to the adoption agencies. Look how much money each state gets every time that state removes a child and adopts a child out, right? There's also a website. Hold on. It's I want to make sure that I'm giving the right information. I believe it's Doge.gov. Elon just put this one out
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah. You guys were talking about Elon Musk in the Oval Office yesterday talking. Darren
Yes.
shared a clip.
Doge.
You know what's funny is, go ahead, finish that.
No, Doge.gov, and all your viewers need to go look at Data Republican. And when you go in, there's a little 3 like bars at the top. I'm not very technical. Click on it and go to the middle one and type in Child Protective Services. You all are going to be floored. We keep telling people you should have been following the money. This is where the money is. So go ahead.
I forgot what we were saying now about your show yesterday, and oh, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, Darren, the Elon Musk thing. You showed that little clip of the video, which I thought what Elon Musk had actually said in that small clip was like really informational and made a lot of sense about, you know, the money and where we are and stuff. But everybody today on the news or whatever I've seen try and reference it about him having his son there and his son picking his nose and stuff. Every part that anybody would show about it would show almost like the stupidest, smallest part of what Elon was saying, but not the whole thing to make it look like he was actually speaking some sense. They always wanted to make him look like he was just, you know, speaking nonsense and then having his kid there and all this. But it's just what people want you to see and what they want to perceive is always just, you know, for their agenda. Like you guys always say, CPS has their own agenda. What your agenda might be is going to be completely different from what theirs is. And it's just...
Look,
Yeah.
that video reminded me of yesterday. Like, that's a family right there. That's dad had to run in. Mom's sick at home. She couldn't take care of the baby. So he's like, man, I got to throw on some shoes. We'll throw you a little suit. Elon just got his baseball hat on and a nice jacket. Of course, that outfit was probably like $3,000, but whatever. But he throws on his little, you know, his little ripped up clothes and he's running to the Oval Office to see the president real quick with his kid because he's got to do that. Like, that just shows what kind of people they are. You know what I mean? Like,
Did
that's
you hear what his son said to Trump at one point? Something about you're sitting in my dad's seat.
Oh, did he really? That's funny. Uh-huh.
But I mean, you know what I mean? I think he said it in a proper way. That's why like they referenced it because of the way he said, like, excuse me, something, something. Do you realize you are sitting in my father's seat?
That's funny as heck.
But no, yeah, that's a perfect example, Darren. It's like he doesn't care who he is or even if he's in the Oval Office. If he needed to bring his son with him, and picking his nose and all, he's going to bring his son with him because that's the father he is, you know? It's just, and everyone wants to judge him for it and say now that the child is being put through everything and anything negative, and it's like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, it must be a tough life. Gotta be tough.
Really.
My dad owns rockets, and yours, you know, my dad goes to the Oval Office, he goes to work, and yours, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
really.
it's gotta be tough. You know, and you know what, honestly, that's probably places that CPS should look at abuse and neglect in children. Are these people that are multimillionaires that just leave their kids to nannies and to do this stuff? Not trying to change up their thing, but in all reality, these are the parents that aren't ones that want to do with their kids. You know, they're playing.
But they won't because they have all the money to fight them and they know that they won't win then, you know? So,
Well, actually, that's not true because Cardi B got CPS called on her.
Oh, that's right.
I remember when you showed that.
And I reached out to her. So, Cardi B,
Come on. We're waiting.
Yeah, we need
Oh,
our
man.
help. Needs our help. But yeah, this Friday, I mean, hey, if everybody, you know, like I don't know what time you guys are on. I don't want to interfere with what you guys are doing, but you know, like we'll be live at our channel and we'll be trying to send messages to these guys to hopefully, you know, we got everybody sending emails out every day to the, you know, the White House, to all this to try to get, if we get just one of them suckers through there so they pay attention, that's all that matters, you know, like. So
I think you said, one of you, between you and Tiffany, said if you keep sending email after email after email, eventually, right?
they're either going to answer me or Secret Service is going to be standing on my door. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Well, and you also have a brother-in-law that's a senator, so you have a little bit of wiggle room somewhere.
Yeah, maybe he's going to drop that down the aisle one of these days when he goes to work. He's dropped the envelope down in the hallway.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Well,
Hey, Mark's gonna make fun of me. Mark's gonna make fun of me because, oh, go ahead. I keep over talking you.
That's okay. I'm actually hoping my brother-in-law runs for president one day, because if I go up in that White House, oh, we're meeting the human services people. We're going to be having a nice long talk. Oh, Eric, yeah, I see Eric, but I'm here to see you.
Yeah, I'm coming down to get this message. Yep.
Yeah, we need to talk. Me and you. I can talk to Eric anytime. I've known him for almost 30 years. I know.
Well, hopefully at that point, this is all handled by these guys first, though. Like, because back to what we were talking about. What are they going to do about the parents that have already been terminated? What is going to be the next step for parents that are terminated if this thing goes down?
Seriously. Give us our kids back, but then that'll be a whole nother rip and row, even like Darren, you were saying the other day, like when do you kind of think that enough time has gone by where it might be more traumatizing to rip your kid out of whatever they've known for how many years? But at the end of the day, it's like, it's still your child that should have never been taken or put there in the first place,
Well,
I always wonder, this is my question too, the foster parents that have my kids, that have obviously already adopted him, changed his last name, don't think that I know the last name, but what I'm trying to say, but still want to act like we're going to have somewhat of a contact with him every so now and then. What happens the day that my child is, old enough and wise enough to realize that there's two parts to every story, and obviously he'll be the one to make that decision of what he wants to believe or whatnot. But let's say he does, wake up and realize that, man, these people that I thought were my mom and dad my whole life, maybe I knew that they weren't, but still they've been making me live a lie my whole life. Like, then what? What do these foster parents think is really going to happen when that child gets of that age? Do they think that the child's not going to turn away from them or veer away? Do they think that they're going to live happily ever after with this kid that they've basically brainwashed their whole life? Because I got the proof since day one of every kind of interaction I've had with these people, where they literally tell me that, yes, you will see them this next month, but you can't address yourself as mom and dad. You can't bring snacks. You can't try and separate him from us. All these rules that they've given us all throughout the years. When are they going to say that the truth is going to then slap them in the face? And now what they did for 18 years, if it needs to go that far, then what?
Well, the good thing is the United States Supreme Court has said that any child that was removed and their parental rights to their parents' parental rights were terminated, they can sue for wrongful removal. And in Virginia, I don't know when the law goes into effect. We only change our law twice a year. But
West Virginia or Virginia?
Oh, Darren.
Why is that an inside joke?
Here in Virginia, they passed a law. I think it goes into effect July 1st. That any child that was adopted can now get their original birth certificates.
Oh, wow.
Because they amend the birth certificates and change social security numbers, right? So,
well, yeah, when they change their last name, I figured they'd get a new social as well, thinking that if they wanted to disappear from me, they think that they would be able to.
Well, that's what they do. They change it because they know the parents have the original. But now in Virginia, I'm going to say that law goes into effect July 1st, because our laws only change twice a year, July 1st and January 1st. As of July 1st, any child that was adopted can get their original birth certificates from the state of Virginia.
And just with all these new, like 23andMe and Ancestry.com and stuff, it's like, also, again, if these foster parents want to think that one day they want to try and run away from us and not let us contact him anymore, what do they think would happen when the day that my son decides to even do something like that and find us? Like, do they really think that they're going to live a happily ever after with my child, and that my child is never going to wake up and really see the truth of what happened all these years? I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I hope it doesn't get that far, but I mean, then again.
There is a DNA website for adopted children to put their DNA into the database.
Like, you mean for us parents to go put our DNA there, so if he ever wants to put his DNA, then he'll find us, is what you're saying? I've already thought about how to do that, yeah. I
was watching Maury one day. Like, I need more drama in my life.
You are not.
Hey, but you learn. This is where you learn stuff, right? You're about to tell us what you learned.
Right. But it was about foster kids, right? So I said, oh, I know I'm going to be crying, but let me turn it on. So I turned it on, And there's actually a database, and he found his biological mother that way. He took his DNA and submitted it, and he found his mother.
Good. Sucks.
Yep.
Well, hey, I know Grace is strict with the time limits and we have about 5 minutes left, but my next show's next Wednesday. So if you guys usually do your show and you want to come tag along with me again and help promote mine, and I'll help promote yours. And like you said, Darren, at the end of the day, we're all doing this for one cause, and that's, to hopefully get the word out strong enough, like you guys are trying to do on Friday, to maybe do something to this corruption of it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But,
we'll start with you coming to our show on Friday, leaving a message for Mr. Trump.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to just let me know the information.
Yep.
But for all those viewers out there that, still tag along and kind of tune into my show here, I'm still kicking and breathing, and, my fight is still going. At least
I still get people asking me where you are. I still, to this day, people are sending me emails asking me where you are. Yep.
See, and I'm the type of person that took the few little bad comments that I would see to heart and kind of discouraged me along the way.
Because right out there. So everyone's going to say something. Everybody's going to say something.
And you said something last night that was good. You said last night something good too on your show about if people are going to be haters or hate on you, it's obviously because you're doing something right or that they're jealous of in a way. So you kind of got to take the bad and turn it into good.
I don't worry about anything anybody says. Tiffany will take care of that. I just sit back and I just let the dogs go. It's Tiffany. She's taking care of that immediately.
You can hate all you want. And I even tell people, right, that I've advocated for, their friends are like, oh my God, she's going to be charged with this, that, and the third. I said, hey, you tell them not when, not if, but when CPS knocks on their door, don't call me because you think that I'm doing shit, stuff that's illegal. Don't call me when they show up at your door. Do the best you can.
Yeah, really. Exactly. No, but yeah, I mean, again, it's just, I keep trying to do the show because, again, it gives me a sense of that I'm still fighting for my kids. And, my two older ones, I still have that option for anybody that followed my story. So hopefully they do get to come home sometime soon. But youngest, it's like Mr. Davis says, the stars have to align and all that, type of thing. But you never know. Maybe Trump will do something. And for us parents that lost our rights to some of our kids, then something might happen then too. So we all keep fighting and we keep, coming on here because, again, more knowledge is power, and hopefully we might prevent a child from even getting adopted out or going that far. I used to joke with Mr. Davis and I said, I'm going to go stand outside the courtroom and tell people as they're coming out, like, this is the realness of CPS. Here's Mr. Davis's vote for something. Like, don't let it go too far, Because seriously, if I knew about any of this, I look back at all the stupid stuff that I did in the beginning of my case because I had no idea. The investigation part? Oh my God, I was the world's worst person. Yes, but by the way, I can't find it. It's Not My Daughter or something on Amazon. What is it called again? For My Daughter.
CPS is coming.
Yes.
No, you have another book.
We'll have a book coming soon.
I thought you had one, Darren, called For My Daughter.
No, That's My Daughter is the podcast that I used to do.
Oh, no wonder I couldn't find it. I was going to tell you the other day, I was trying to look up your... Okay, so Stay Calm CPS is coming. Okay.
Yep. It's all about
then I'll definitely order that. And you have another one you said coming, Tiffany, or no? You're working on it, you guys.
Me and Darren are working on it.
Yeah, I always hear you saying, I sent you this. Did you read it? Hold on, I haven't even...
Yeah, it's just like a firestorm of stuff. 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, here it comes.
See, but that's another reason why Tiffany is successful for you too, because like I said, my problem with my show is that if I don't have a guest, and I didn't have a co-host before, then I would feel discouraged, because of those haters out there that would be like, quit talking about yourself. And I'd be like, well, what else do you want me to talk about, type of thing. Or they chime in.
I started by myself. I have videos. I have like 2 years worth of videos I did by myself.
Yeah, well, I've gotten a lot more courage since day one, but Mr. Davis used to make me laugh so hard though when we did it with him. He'd always yell at me because, number one, I always talk too much, and so he'd actually have to mute me or I'd have to cover my own mouth. And then, again, I would cut people off or whatever. So I've come a long way if you've seen from the beginning sometimes, but Man, me and Darren used to show a different side of Mr. Davis that we were all rolling at times. I mean, like that clip last night that you showed. But again, it brings a different flavor to CPS because, again, it's such a negative, topic at whole that you got to bring some kind of laughter or positivity to it to keep us going as humans. But anyways, we should probably get to going unless you have any last words. Okay, well.
That was one of the things when Darren was like, "Oh, Tiff, we need to do a show together." So I was like, "Okay." So he was like, "What do you want?" So I told him, I said, "I want to educate people. I want to get the word out. But most of all, I want to have fun because I don't always want it to be serious because people have to understand the more serious you are, the more wore out you're going to be. I've been doing this over 30 years and I have to take time. And I'm finally making Darren take time. And I'm glad his wife backed me up. I'm like, you were not going on Monday through Thursday. You're going to take Friday and Saturday. Well, Saturday he does one show. And I was like, no, because and this is another thing I tell my parents, you have to take time to relax because Saturdays and Sundays, there's nothing you can do. Those are the times you need to be getting your mind right, resting, and getting ready for the war back on Monday.
Mm-hmm. It's the truth.
Because that's what it feels like. Fighting is definitely a war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But hey, hopefully you guys. You only got half of the show though tonight because you had to wait for your. Oh, by the way, Grace said she sent it to you, so at the end of the show, if you can sign it, she'd appreciate it. So hopefully you guys can pop in again next Wednesday. Maybe keep this going for me, and I'll do what I can for you guys on your end. Yeah, Darren, any last words? I thought you were going to fall asleep on me for a second there.
Oh, no, I've been pretty good. My eyes been straight the whole time. I watch it now in the
What's
screen.
with that fur coat, by the way? Holy mackerel.
Up here, man. Yeah, I just walked in the door, so I had to get my fur on. Okay, it's a full size, too. Check this out.
Wait, one last quick story, Tiffany. One last quick story, Tiffany and Grace. Sorry, 2 minutes, Grace. Darren, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this story, but Darren had a dog not too long ago. That passed away. And I don't know if I'm telling the story accurately, but something along the lines of he had the dog in the freezer. And I said, what do you mean you have?
Are you cremating the dog?
We're going to get her
stuffed. He's keeping it. He's going to get it stuffed.
Yep, Norma. She's going to be stuffed.
So when I saw this fur coat, I'm thinking, is it his dog's fur?
Oh, no.
I didn't want to go there, but I did. Oh, that's funny. I still can't believe that it's in the freezer still though.
9 cats.
9? No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Darren.
No, little fella. We're not that house. They're getting fixed little bits at a time. Not yet.
Well, you better hurry up before you have 9 times 9.
It'll be 81 quick. I've seen how this works. So,
oh, Lord. No, thanks. All right. No. Well, Grace is probably ready for us to end it. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And hopefully, Grace? Yeah. Where's the music? No, I don't have music. Darren, you got to help me with that, too. See? Yeah, Grace, this could all be a team effort. Grace used to have music for you. You would tell her, too. Yeah, Grace, turn the music on.
Yeah.
Wow. Hopefully, we can fix that next week if you come on. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
In 1776, brave men put up a fight, mowing down redcoats. They wanted freedom. They had to fight. And now we take the sacrifice in vain. They loaded their muskets, fired them one by one. That's why we have the freedom to own a gun, but we are blowing it. These freedoms were created by those before us. They were to be something that stays. But now things are so corrupted, they're taking our rights away. Hey, Uncle Sam, where did you go? I called Washington today, but nobody's home. We all want to stand for our freedom, but nobody wants to do it today. Can't you see time is a waste and the Constitution we love is fading? Make no tread on the reality, or the USA will be the next casualty. We are here for freedom, those we will protect. Unite for the values we cherish, but watch everything perish. Our men have fought for our freedoms, many women have too. Their blood spilled upon the ground, with the news many frown. They paid a price that many won't pay, now we are letting the cause fade away. The graves are being neglected by the actions of so many deceptive. The freedoms they fought for in every world war, conflict or mission, so many stayed behind signing petitions, while those away dying were there to protect them. It's time to wake up in the USA. We are all slipping away into the darkness we once ran from. It's getting worse every day. Now they are taking our children more and more every day. No soldier ever fought for taking our children away. This is not why they bled for our freedom. They didn't die for some cheap pay. We all need to come together, fight this corruption, and it starts today. We need to wake up America, go back to parades, remember true family values, laugh again as children play. These are the things we fought for, 200 years strong, but now we're losing all of this. Don't tread on me does exist. So rise up and be strong. We don't have to go along. We need to push back now, like our forefathers did. It's time to bring back the way it was, when families lived together, all that mattered was love. It's not always easy to take back what they have grabbed. With all of us together we can do it, to loving children and mom and dad. This is our country, it's called USA. So many have fallen, say don't tread on me today. It's time to wake up in the USA. We are all slipping away into the darkness we once ran from. It's getting worse every day. Now they are country